I kept on blowing my account again and again and again. FOMO, revenge trading, ignoring my own damn rules. I was my own worst enemy. And every time I failed, I thought, I just need more discipline. But here is the truth. Discipline is a lie. You do not rise to your goals, you fall back to your systems. And my system was trash. I tried everything. More discipline, more rules, more indicators. None of it worked until I handed my entire process over to AI, and that changed everything. Better planning, better execution, better emotional control, and most importantly, no more bullshit. I will show you the exact 3 bots I built on ChatGPT to help me plan better, execute better. The first thing I do is I stare at my scanners and I look for stocks that are interesting to trade. I want to see pre-market gaps, I want to see volume, and I want to see a daily chart that aligns with my strategy. And it is quite simple. If a ticker pre-market or on my scanner looks like trash, I forget about it. It's done. But now here is where the magic of GPT kicks in. So this is what I've done. My GPT knows my exact setup criteria. But you have here all the instructions of the GPT. If you want those instructions, I will send it to you. Link is below. And I have shown GPT my exact setup criteria. Let me just open my setups. GPT knows my exact trading and setup rules I have here. So whenever I give GPT a ticker, it gives me all the essential information. Now, you have to be clear, this information that is now here will be flawed because it is Sunday. This is actually a wonderful example. This was a good ticker on Friday to trade. It gives me what he has read in the SIC filing, risk of dilutions, the institutional holdings, short interest rates, and here my favorite, when the earnings are coming soon. This is a funny story because I was in a trade after market hours and this company would release their earnings after hours and the earnings weren't good. So I had a runner and that runner ended up costing me a tremendous loss because I didn't close it before the close of the market. And when GPT gives me a day tradability score of 7 and above, then I put it on my watch list and then I make a plan about it. The thing is, it is still ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is not known always for their factual information. Keep in mind, this is not some magical tool that gives you the trading wisdom. So if GPT confirms your own analysis, you're good to go. If GPT does not confirm your own analysis, then I say this and this reasons I think your analysis is wrong, recalculate everything. Then GPT goes again, recalculates everything, and either my analysis is wrong or GPT's analysis is wrong. If GPT comes back with a calculation and still says to me, hey, that I'm biased and that I'm doing wishful thinking, and then I will listen to GPT. But if GPT changes their mind and say like, oh yes, X, Y, and Z I didn't consider, therefore here is the updated analysis, then you're good to go. But keep in mind, this is not magic. This just pressure tests my own conviction and my own biases. GPT forces me to prove I'm right. I have got my pre-market plan ready. I know my setups, I know what I'm looking for. A plan is useless if you can't execute it. And this was my problem. I had my plan ready. When the market opens, when new developments appear, it's easy to chase everything, break your own rules. So I needed a way to stop that. Even when my brain is telling me to blow up my account, to take shit trades, to listen to FOMO, this is where my second bot comes in. It's called TradeMind. This bot is not about finding tickers. It's about making sure I execute like a machine. And if I screw up, it makes me face my failures head on. And this all starts before the market opens. So let me just show you. Let's imagine it's Monday. Hello, ready for today. This is actually a great example. Good morning, ready to lock in the plan for today. Drop your tickers, intended setup, specific plan, and any daily chart considerations. And then it gives me some things to focus on today and a few questions I can dive into, prepare myself for the trading day. I will change them from time to time to make them more accurate and relevant for the specific next trading session. So this all means for me to be locked in. And this bot works in 2 parts. So before the market opens, I will drop my tickers, my plan, everything I want to see in the market. Now, if you're like me and you don't like typing, like AREP, want to see blah, 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 blah. So I press the Windows H key and then it just starts transcribing everything that I'm saying, and it will give it just to GPT. And simple as that, I can give GPT my exact plan. So let's take, for example, the ticker I'm looking at, and let's assume that it was a good ticker and I want to put it on my watch list. So here for the ticker AREB, the daily chart looks good. I will be looking for a volcano setup at the market opens, if it confirms the price action, and obviously I want to see volume before I enter. So I tell GPT exactly what my plan is. No improvising, no guessing, and it locks everything in one place so I can cheat myself. But here's a twist. By the end of the training, I will review my trades. It doesn't care if I made money, it just cares if I executed my plan. Because remember, a profitable trade can still be a shit trade, and a red trade can still be a perfect one. Good trades, they're justified, bad trades, they're emotional ones. So this bot forces me to put process over profits. And if you can't do that, you can never make money in the long run. And this is a fun part. Whenever a trade gets interesting, I just do the same thing. Press Windows H. I describe what I see on a chart. I describe when I want to enter. I describe how I execute. I describe how I feel. So everything gets logged. And that makes my trades brutally honest. So if I'm adjusting stop loss, I will tell that. If I feel anger, FOMO, I will tell that. And then this bot becomes like a true sledgehammer. Because after the session, I give it my entries, my exits, my results, and why I did what I did. My emotional state, every key moment. And then GPT gives me a full audit based on how well I executed. A good trade is when I followed my plan, stuck to the setup, executed perfectly whether I made money or not. Then we have a blue mistake. That is a mistake I made because I didn't know better. Because a rule was shit, because there's something that needs to be addressed. Then we have an orange mistake. This is a forgotten rule. I knew better, but I was biased and I slipped. And then there are the red mistakes. That's just breaking my own rules, breaking my plan, over trading. It's a rule I had, and I know while I was doing it, I was still breaking the rule. Like, I should not make this trade, but I still do it. Those are the dangerous ones. And this is where TradeMind forces me to be brutally honest with myself. Because it is not about the wins and losses. It's about good decisions versus bad decisions. You can be green for a day, a week, a month by making stupid trades, but that is not sustainable. TradeMind forces me to measure myself by execution, not results. I could lose money on a perfect trade and it's still a win. If you're not measuring your process, you're just gambling, period. And then GPT gives me a discipline score out of 100 that I follow my process. And the beautiful thing is, you can just track your own progress. So this is now for the month of April. Friday, did everything perfectly, had a score of 100. Depending where you are in this journey, above 80 or above 90 is good. So I have here 1 day below 80 last week, not that good. And then I can look into it, why it went wrong. But the beautiful part is you can measure your progress day by day, month by month. And this is one of my journals. And here I write down every trade, my descriptions, my mistakes, and the score I have. Is it an orange trade, a blue trade, or a green trade? My discipline scores. Or obviously, I have an other journal that tracks my P&L and goes over every entry and every exit. And this is only the second bot. So far, I've shown you how I've used to filter my setups and keep me locked in my process. But even if you have a perfect plan, it doesn't mean you never make mistakes again. And if you don't learn from those mistakes, you will never grow. That is where my third bot comes in. It's called the legacy lock, because this is where most traders screw up. They think when they use fancy systems, they're improving. But if you're not evolving, you're just repeating the same habits and calling it progress. So by the end of the day, I feed legacy log everything. How the day went, how I felt, what went wrong, what went good. Here is where legacy log is different. It forces me to go deeper than the surface level. It challenges my thoughts. You said this was a good trade. Why was it a good trade? What did you do differently? You said you felt frustrated. Was it because you broke your own rules or because the market didn't reward you? You said you would do better tomorrow. But how? What will you actually change? Most traders, they think journaling is enough. But writing down a mistake is worthless if you don't change anything. What makes Legacy Log different is simple. It forces me to turn insights into action. If I give vague answers, it pushes back. If I can't justify my decisions, it keeps digging. If I try to skip over a mistake, it won't let me move on. It breaks patterns, it compounds strengths, and it turns mistakes into growth. And if you don't go deep enough, it doesn't give anything back. Because when you're done, Legacy Log gives you a journal entry that you better save somewhere. And this is not about collecting data, it's about evolving every single day. And the best way to do that is turn those lessons into a permanent record. But here's a real secret. Everything I just showed you is only as good as your ability to see your mistakes. And here's a real problem. Most traders, they're blind for their own flaws. They repeat the same mistakes over and over again without realizing it. I was stuck for that for years, hitting the same walls, thinking I was evolving, but I was just running in circles. I have a fourth bot, one that exposes all my blind spots, the mistakes I couldn't even see, the ones that are silently killing my process. This bot doesn't just analyze me, it finds weaknesses in my whole process. Watch this video next, so you can do the exact same thing. Also, link description for the bots. Thank you very much.